Hello everyone, and welcome to History of the Ancient World. Today we're journeying back in time to a land nestled between two great rivers, a place often called the cradle of civilization. We're talking about Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and the Euphrates, in what is now modern-day Iraq. This is where so much of what we take for granted today first began. Think about it. Writing, laws, cities, even the wheel. It all started here, thousands of years ago. So grab your virtual shovel and let's dig into the incredible story of the world's first true civilization. The story of Mesopotamia isn't about one single empire, but a succession of powerful cultures that rose and fell over millennia. It all begins with the Sumerians around 4500 BCE. These were the true innovators. They weren't just building settlements. They were building the world's first cities. Places like Uruk, Ur, and Eridu became bustling centers of trade, religion, and governance. Imagine walking through the streets of Uruk with its towering ziggurats, massive step pyramids dedicated to the gods, dominating the skyline. Life revolved around agriculture, made possible by an ingenious system of irrigation canals that tamed the unpredictable rivers. This surplus of food allowed people to specialize. You weren't just a farmer anymore. You could be a priest, a potter, a scribe, or a soldier. This division of labor was the engine that powered societal complexity. But perhaps the Sumerians' greatest gift to humanity was the invention of writing. Around 3200 BCE, they developed a system called cuneiform. It started as simple pictures or pictographs to keep track of grain and livestock. But it evolved into a complex script of wedge-shaped marks pressed into wet clay tablets. This was a monumental leap. For the first time, humans could record their history, their laws, their myths, and their knowledge for future generations. We have unearthed thousands of these clay tablets, giving us an intimate look into their world, from epic poems like the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the world's first great works of literature, to mundane shopping lists. Writing transformed everything, allowing for complex administration, formal laws, and the preservation of culture on a scale never seen before. After the Sumerians, a new power rose to prominence, the Akkadian Empire, led by the legendary Sargon the Great around 2334 BCE. Sargon is considered the creator of the world's first empire. He wasn't content with just one city-state. He conquered them all, uniting the diverse Sumerian and Akkadian-speaking peoples under a single rule. This set a new precedent for what was possible in terms of political power and military conquest. The Akkadian Empire was relatively short-lived, but its legacy of centralized rule would influence Mesopotamian politics for centuries to come. Following a period of revival for Sumerian cities like Ur, the next major force to shape the region was Babylon. And when you think of Babylon, you probably think of one name, Hammurabi. Ascending to the throne around 1792 BCE, Hammurabi was not just a conqueror, but also a brilliant administrator. He is famous for the Code of Hammurabi, one of the earliest and most complete written legal codes ever discovered. Inscribed on a massive stone stele, it contained 282 laws covering everything from property rights and commerce to family law and professional standards. Its principle of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth is famous, but the code was more nuanced than that, with punishments often varying based on social status. This code represented a major step forward in the concept of justice, establishing that society should be governed by written, known laws rather than the whims of a ruler. Babylon's first empire eventually faded, and the region saw the rise of the fearsome and highly organized Assyrians. From their heartland in northern Mesopotamia, the Assyrians built a massive military machine. By the 9th century BCE, they had forged an empire that was the largest the world had yet seen, stretching from Egypt to parts of Iran. The Assyrians were masters of siege warfare and military technology, using battering rams, siege towers, and iron weapons to conquer their enemies. The capital, Nineveh, became a city of immense wealth, with a magnificent library built by King Ashurbanipal. This library housed tens of thousands of cuneiform tablets, preserving the knowledge of all the cultures the Assyrians had conquered. It was a systematic effort to collect and categorize the world's wisdom, and it's thanks to Ashurbanipal that we have copies of many Sumerian and Babylonian texts, including the Epic of Gilgamesh. But even the mighty Assyrian Empire couldn't last forever. A coalition of their subjects, led by the Babylonians and the Medes, rose up and destroyed Nineveh in 612 BCE. This led to the rise of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, which experienced a spectacular but brief golden age. This is the Babylon of biblical fame, ruled by King Nebuchadnezzar II. He was a monumental builder, turning Babylon into one of the wonders of the ancient world. He constructed the legendary Ishtar Gate, a breathtaking structure covered in blue glazed bricks and adorned with images of lions and dragons. He is also credited with building the Hanging Gardens of Babylon for his homesick wife, though archaeologists are still debating their exact location and even their existence. This era was a final flourish of native Mesopotamian culture before the region was conquered by a new superpower from the east. That superpower was Persia. In 539 BCE, Cyrus the Great and his Persian army marched into Babylon, taking the city without a fight. This marked the end of Mesopotamian independence. For the next several centuries, the land between the rivers would be a province of vast foreign empires. First the Persians, then the Greeks under Alexander the Great, and later the Parthians and others. While the cities continued to exist, the distinct cultural and political identity of Mesopotamia slowly faded into history. The cuneiform script fell out of use, and the knowledge of the ancient Sumerians and Babylonians was lost, buried under the sands of Iraq for nearly 2,000 years. It wasn't until the 19th century that archaeologists and scholars began to rediscover this lost world. They deciphered the strange wedge-shaped writing and unearthed the ruins of once great cities. What they found was astonishing. They learned that the Mesopotamians were brilliant astronomers, capable of predicting eclipses and creating a calendar based on the cycles of the moon. They developed mathematics using a base 60 system, which is why we still have 60 seconds in a minute and 360 degrees in a circle today. They invented the wheel, the sailboat, and the plow, innovations that fundamentally changed human society. Their legal codes, their literature, and their ideas about kingship and divinity laid the groundwork for later civilizations. So, when we look back at Mesopotamia, we're not just looking at a collection of dusty ruins and broken tablets. We are looking at our own origins. We are seeing the first steps humanity took on the long road to the modern world. The legacy of Mesopotamia is all around us in the way we measure time, the way we write laws, and in the very idea of living together in cities. It's a powerful reminder that history is not just a story of the past. It's the foundation upon which our present is built. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back to the cradle of civilization. I hope you found the story of Mesopotamia as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to History of the Ancient World for more deep dives into the stories that shaped us. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Until next time, keep exploring the past.